Hi everybody, Mike Beer here with Sunday's DRF race of the day. We're going to Aqueduct, race number 3. It's for the New York bred fillies and mares. The Bay Ridge Stakes, $100,000 purse. They're going to go 9 furlongs on the main track. Let's take a look right now at the field of 6, and you can see there are a couple of standouts in here. The number 1, Lucky Move, is your even money morning line favorite. Number 6, Mrs. Orb, 6-5 on the line. These two horses, clear-cut choices on David Aragona's morning line, and, deservedly so. They have the form that sort of towers over the other 4 horses in this race. They're familiar foes. They've squared off against each other more than once in the past. They've traded decisions along the way. And they're both, just really good horses who get this distance. And I think that could be also a key to this race. The 9 furlong distance is no problem for either the 1 or the 6. So we'll just see if, somebody can pull off the upset. I thought it was hard to go in a different direction here. Certainly number 5, Singular Sensation, who is 6-1 on the line. She feels like the alternative. If you're looking for an alternative and you want to go in that direction, it feels like it's going to be Singular Sensation against the 2 favorites. Let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for this race. They have the number 4, Kilkee, out there on the early lead. I can't argue with that. This is a filly who has been racing on the turf recently for trainer Mark Hennig, and racing on turf in very good form, actually, while showing good tactical speed. The question with Kilkee in this race is, will she transfer her recent good turf form over to the main track? She did begin her career with 3 starts on dirt. Just wasn't, very good on this surface in those starts. You could look at her and say, you know what, maybe she's just come back in 2020 as a 3-year-old, is just a better horse. That's certainly possible, that it's just natural improvement and it's not turf that has led to her recent improvement. I personally think it's the turf. I think she's a turf horse. I think she's a pretty good one at that. They're going to take a shot here. Don't blame them for taking a shot, and if she gets loose on the lead, perhaps she could take this field a long way. I just felt like she was in pretty tough in this kind of race. And again, Singular Sensation feels like the right alternative if you're looking for an alternative. The things to like about Singular Sensation, of course, much like her stablemate in Kilkee, is that she has some tactical speed. She should be forward in this race, and the 9 furlongs is no problem for her. She has won over this distance in the past, and she's also run very well in another couple of starts where she didn't win. So the distance is no problem. She was no match for the 2 favorites when they all met up in the Empire Distaff back at the end of October. She didn't run terribly there, but she was clearly no match for those 2 horses. She has since come back to run second in a state bred allowance race. So she's just going to have to improve. Maybe she'll do it in this race, get the right trip, and she should be a very fair price if you're looking to go in that direction. I was not looking to go in that direction. I think it sort of does come down to, a race here between the 2 favorites, Lucky Move and Mrs. Orb. It's interesting to look at their form, too, because they have run against each other in the past, as I mentioned in the open. One of those matches with these 2 horses came in this very race. Last December at Aqueduct, the Bay Ridge of 2019, they ran 1-2. They were noses apart at the wire. It was Mrs. Orb who got the job done that day. They both actually came into that race, too, in good form last year, which is also the case this year. Mrs. Orb was on a 3-race winning streak into that Bay Ridge. Lucky Move had also run well leading up to that race, and they hit the wire together. And there was Lucky Orb who had the early position on Lucky Move, and then it was just a last-ditch effort at the end of that race from Lucky Move to try to get up, and she just fell short. They hit the wire together, but it was Mrs. Orb who got the bob to win that race. Since then, they've come back in 2020, and they're both, and actually, really good form coming into this race, so it really should lead to a strong matchup between these 2. Mrs. Orb has run 5 times so far in 2020. She has finished second in 4 of those races. The last 4 times that she ran in 2020, she's settled for second best, but she ran well in all of those races. They're all stakes races, 3 of them against New York breds. Most recently, she ran in the Turn Back the Alarm against open horses, the Grade 3 Turn Back the Alarm. Second best at the end of the day, but she ran well there with a new top buyer of 93. Lucky Move also comes into this race in good form. She's been facing open company for most of the year. She returned from a layoff in June to also earn her career best buyer speed figure with a 93 and winning a stakes race at Delaware Park. Since then, she's held better company. These 2 horses did meet up in the Empire Distaff that we mentioned earlier at the end of October. Let's take a look at the replay of that race right now. They're going to finish 1-2 once again. This time it's Lucky Move who gets the better of Mrs. Orb. I like this effort from Lucky Move. She sat at the back of this field early. That's sort of her running style. She doesn't have a lot of speed. Made a big 4-wide move on the turn to get herself right up into contention and alongside Mrs. Orb at the top of the stretch. And she just had more horse from there to the wire. Lucky Move took that race over. She went clear to the wire there. I liked the game try from Mrs. Orb there. There was a brief point in upper stretch where she was between horses where it looked like she might fade, but she regathered herself and got up for second. I thought they both ran well. I suspect they'll both run well right back here in the Bay Ridge here as they, try to settle this. They each have one win. We'll see who gets the upper hand this time. I personally gave a slight edge to Lucky Move. I think it's going to be very close between these two horses. They are the two favorites, but I wasn't going to try to beat them. I went with Lucky Move on top in this race. My picks are 1, 6, 5, and 4 in Sunday's race of the day. It's the Bay Ridge. It's race number 3 at Aqueduct on Sunday. Good luck.